Donald Trump is tearing America apart at the seams, and if we don't put this in check, there may be nothing of this country left. What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Aaron. This is Aaron Talks Culture. Today we're talking about Trump and all the lies and misinformation that he's spreading in this post-election cycle. So yesterday, the Electoral College cast their votes for Joe Biden, as they should, finalizing the election. And Joe Biden is now officially, by every standard, the president-elect. He's going to be put into office, sworn into office on January 20th. Despite this, Donald Trump cannot control himself. He doesn't have any self-control, and he's out here making a whole shitload of false claims every chance he gets. It's just, it's not even really ironic, because I mean, you could see it from a mile away. It's so absurd that a man who is always talking about fake news is literally the embodiment of it. Spewing lies nonstop, 24/7, 365, every second of the day. This man is lying and spreading misinformation. And he has a cult following, a cult of personality, MAGA, the Trumpists, and the vast majority of the Republican Party, who are just diving in to this simulation with him. And I call it a simulation because it's completely devoid from reality. This is why Donald Trump is perhaps the most damaging president to our own nation, most damaging president to America in history. Now, we know that other presidents have done terrible things. Also, we know that George Bush Jr. Brought us into the Iraq War under false pretenses. We know all the war crimes that he committed. But even Obama, when he was in office, ramped up drone strikes from there. And Obama has his administration in their warmongering abroad, started by Bush, but continued under Obama, killed countless civilians in drone strikes, and they're just not accurate. So this isn't to say that other presidents haven't done bad things, but I want to talk about here at home specifically, because we know that Trump has also continued the war machine. But he lost this election, and it wasn't close. And he is only interested in himself. He's not a person who has the depth of character to say, hey, these were my ideas, these were their ideas, we lost, and now the country is handed over to Joe Biden, and hey, we're going to come back and get him next time if he wants to run in 2024, or whoever. The Republican Party will be back. He doesn't have the depth of character to say this. He's only self-interested, and he will not accept reality, and he will stir his minions, the MAGA people, the extreme, ridiculous Trumpists. He will churn them into such a rage that they're willing to go into streets with weapons, that they're willing to rip this country apart, that they'll never believe another election again. And it's completely damaging to the structure of our society. There's a difference between your personal opinion and what you want versus what reality is. So if you're a conservative, if you're somebody who likes Trump, I might disagree with you, but that's your right to have conservative values and to want Trump to be president. But after the election and we see the results, reality is that he is not going to be president, that he lost and it wasn't close. And this is reality and it's factual. Imagine if in 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost in the Electoral College, even though she won the popular vote by nearly 3 million, she conceded the next day. Even winning the Electoral College vote by that, even winning the popular vote by the greatest margin that anybody who would lose the race has ever gotten that many votes. She still conceded the next day. Imagine if she spent the entire lame duck session, Obama's lame duck session, ginning the Democratic Party into an uproar. Now, people were still mad. People, I believe under the principles of democracy that we claim to hold so dear, that whoever gets the most votes wins. And that's a whole nother story about how bad the Electoral College is. And the most populous state, California, your vote is worth 4 times less than somebody in, I believe, North Dakota or wherever it is, Wyoming, something like that, the least populous state. The people in that state have a vote 4 times more valuable than one person in California. So the Electoral College is so undemocratic. But things moved on. Donald Trump is president under the rules that were established. We understand that Donald Trump won. And whether or not I like Donald Trump or want him to be president, that's under the rules that were established. That's what happened. Now we need to get rid of those rules, and we need to start that immediately. But that's another topic. The vote tally is around 81,200,000 votes for Joe Biden and 74,200,000 votes for Donald Trump. That's a difference of 7 million votes. Donald Trump lost this election by 7 million votes. Okay? A massive popular vote loss. Not close. The Electoral College ended up 306 to 232. Not close. Voter fraud is non-existent. It's minuscule. A fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. And the few cases of voter fraud that have been found have actually been Republicans who voted twice because Donald Trump told them to vote twice. All right, Donald Trump literally told his people to vote twice. That's where the voter fraud is. There have been, I'm going to put the links in the description. Trump's had about 60 court cases trying to subvert democracy and steal this election. His record in that is 1 win and 59 losses. Now, these are judges who were appointed by Trump. These are the extreme right-wing judges that he's put in at every level, even at the Supreme Court that now has a conservative edge. Expeditiously throughout the case that made it to them, dealing with Texas and their effort to try to flip the election for Trump. At every level, it's been a complete failure because there's no substance there. There is literally no evidence. But despite this lack of evidence, despite there being utterly nothing to say that Donald Trump should be the president, he lost in every way measurable, and every claim that he's made about voter fraud is a fraud. He still goes and spews to his minions, spews to the MAGA people, spews to the far right, and he's just whipping them up into this fervor that is completely baseless. Donald Trump is so self-interested is that he's willing to bring the entire country down with him. It's completely disgusting. It's completely unacceptable. This man needs to be in prison for the rest of his life for a multitude of things, but number one on the list is what he's doing to the country right now. This subhuman Donald Trump thrives on chaos. It's the only thing he's good at is creating chaos and thriving off the energy of that. Now, I am a question everything person. I'm a person who says whatever information is presented to me, how did we achieve this? What are the answers? I like to dig, and everybody, you can't dig into everything. You can't dig into everything. Some things you have to take at face value in order for you to be able to keep your life moving. But I am a question everything person. But when you get the answer, you have to accept the answer. When you're shown how the answer was achieved and you're shown the work, you have to accept it. All right? Let's use a math example. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's always going to be 4. It's always been that way. Okay, so you could say, well, why is 2 plus 2 4? And then you see somebody show you why it's 4, and you accept it. Now, of course, that's an easy equation. Let's get into something like calculus or whatever, more complicated equations, okay? It's hard to define the answer, But once you're shown the answer, once you see the work, the steps that it took, you still have to accept it. You say, okay, that was a little bit more complicated, but I see these steps here, and I see that any other answer doesn't work because it's unfounded. That's the answer. You have to accept things when you get the appropriate answer. You can't just continue on with conspiracies because you don't like the answer. I want to use an example from the great author J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, there's a character in the Tolkien mythology whose name is Melkor, and Melkor is one of the immortal spirits in the world of Tolkien, and for lack of a better word, he's a god in the style of the pantheon of gods that you have in Egyptian mythology or Greek mythology. He was the most powerful one, Melkor, but he was corrupted and he became evil. And he basically wanted to bend the world to his will. Now, this character does not represent Trump. This character represents the right wing overall, the extreme right, the modern Republican Party, Fox News. They want to bend the world to their will, and they see their power slipping away. They see their power slipping away because they know their ideas are outdated. And I did another video on this, on why America is really left-wing, or I think my title was America is not right-wing. And it shows that on the policy level, regardless of party, obviously, of course, more people who lean Democratic, but regardless of party, America is really very progressive, issue by issue. So Republicans know that lying and doing smear campaigns about the ideas of the left, gerrymandering so that even when the left gets more votes, they can't win, and also voter suppression and purging voters and making it more difficult for people to vote, and lying about voter fraud. These are the only ways that Republicans can continue to win on into the future unless they revamp their platform. Now, there's always going to be conservatives and there's always going to be people who are more progressive. That's not the issue. The issue is on what are the ideas of your party, and are they popular with the public, and do they make the country better? The right wing can only win through lies and deception currently. So back to Melkor. Melkor was the most powerful of these gods, and he was corrupted and turned evil. But he needed to draft some other people into his service in order to achieve his goals. So he drafted this other spirit known as Emea, and this spirit was in the form of a great spider. This spider, her name was Ungoliant, and she desired to devour everything, had an unquenchable thirst. Melkor wanted to destroy the two great trees that gave light and life to all the planet. So he got Ungoliant to help him destroy these trees. But when she had devoured these trees, her thirst had not been quenched, and she had only grown in her thirst and her desire for more, to devour and destroy. And it was to the point where Melkor, literally the most powerful being on the planet, was afraid of what he had unleashed. And Ungoliant captured him in one of her dark webs and was ready to devour him until some of his other evil servants came and saved him. Now, that's not the good part of the story, because Melkor here represents the right and Fox News and the Republican Party, but Ungoliant represents Trump. Just an unquenchable thirst, an unquenchable selfishness, self-serving, self-centeredness. The good part of the story is that eventually Ungoliant faded out of history, and Melkor eventually was defeated by the good forces in the world. So too will Trump eventually fade. He's not going to be around forever. He's an old man. And hopefully so too will the ridiculous ideas of the modern right be defeated. But the thing that was sad in the story and in real life is that those effects, the negative effects of the works of Melkor and Ungoliant, were felt for all of time. And that's what I think is going to happen with Trump and how he's just pulling America apart at the seams. These effects are going to be felt for decades, perhaps hundreds of years, if we can't put these things in check. I don't want the country to be torn apart at the seams. I don't want a civil war. I want the country to be more united. I want there to be an end to hunger in the richest country in the history of the world. I want there to be an end to medical bankruptcy. I want there to be an end to people who can't get the proper medical health care. I want there to be an end to poverty. We have all the resources to do these things. We choose not to. And Trump is just sowing more discord. So to Trumpists, if there's any of you watching this, to MAGA, if there's any of you watching this, think about the path that you're going down right now. Think about the anger and hate that Trump is evoking. Is it a good path? Is it something that's sustainable? And just consider that perhaps what you're being told, perhaps what you believe, is not the truth. Consider it. We're not going to agree right now, but consider that what Trump is doing is perhaps wrong and that perhaps you're being deceived. I don't know how the country is going to come out of this, but it's a sad road that we're headed down, and we need to change course. We need a course correction. That's all I got for right now. Peace, love, and power, all you good people of this home we call Earth. Catch you next time. Peace.